What's up, people? DJ Prophecy here. Welcome to the DJ Prophecy Show. This episode is all about Miami bass music, okay? So, I'm from Miami. I've lived in the Miami area for most of my life. I'm pretty familiar with the music scene. Ever since 1989, I have been listening to the local music, and Miami bass is definitely a part of the history down here in South Florida. So basically, Miami bass is it's party music, and for the most part, it is sexual. The lyrics and the energy, it can be explicit. Not all of it is explicit language, but that's why on the record, on the records, there is a radio version and a dirty version, also known as the club version. So I'm just going to get into Miami bass and a brief history on the subject. So, Miami bass, also known as Miami booty shake music or just booty music, it was born in the Miami area in the mid 80s, okay? So, hip hop was already born, okay? But that was in New York, okay? In Miami, the first rap song in Miami was by this group called Crush 2, and the name was Ghetto Jump. So technically that's the first Miami rap record and also the first Miami bass record. But for anybody that doesn't know about Miami bass, the father of Miami bass is Luther Campbell, also known as Luke, also known as Uncle Luke, also known as Captain D. So basically, I always call him Luke. I've met him a couple times. I don't know if he remembers me, but I really respect the guy. He really put Miami on the map. And I remember back in the 80s and 90s, everybody who lived in Miami and was from Miami had a lot of respect for him, and they still probably do, because it was him that put us on the map. Before Luke and the Two Live Crew, which I'll get into later, nobody really knew about Miami. Miami was kind of a dead scene in a sense. But so let's get into the story. Luke, okay, Luther Campbell. In the mid 80s, he was a DJ, and he had this dance club in Miami, in Liberty City, if I'm not mistaken. And this club was known as the Pac Jam. It was a teen disco or a teen nightclub, and I believe he was the owner, and he was also a DJ there. And so he was trying to make music that would make the basically the party goers dance and have a great time. So as the story goes, he did some experimenting, and he knew these guys. There were a rap group by the name of Crush 2, and they put out this record called Ghetto Jump. And I don't know the fine details, but the story goes something like this. Luke basically, after that record came out, he became the main guy in Miami as far as the rap scene was concerned, and the Miami bass booty shake music scene was concerned, okay? He formed this group called the Two Live Crew, which consisted of Mr. Mix, who was the DJ, the Fresh Kid Ice, also known as the Chinaman, uh, and the brother Marquise. Okay, now the Two Live Crew, their members have changed to here and there, but for the purpose of this story, we're going to keep the members as I just mentioned right there. Okay. What's interesting is that the Chinaman, Fresh Kid Ice, okay? What made, first of all, the Two Live Crew is a very dope rap group, okay? And they're from Miami. They represented the Miami sound. They put Miami on the map. But Fresh Kid Ice, if I'm not mistaken, he's from New York originally, and he's from Brooklyn or something. But he has this voice which, is legendary in Miami. And to keep it 100, Brother Marquise, Mr. Mix, and even Fresh Kid Ice, they may have, came from California at some point. They weren't originally from Miami like Luther Campbell was. But they all ended up in Miami, and they were this group called the Two Live Crew. And I have a crate of records right here. I'm not sure if you could see it. I don't think so, but I'm going to dig in here and pull out some records just to show you. So, to make a long story short, I believe it was in 1989, they came out with this album. Well, before we even get into that, Luther Campbell, before Puff Daddy, before Suge Knight, before Master P, before all these guys, okay? Before any of these guys had a record label, probably the first rap label owner and entrepreneur is Luther Campbell, okay? And he started this record label called Luke Skywalker Records, which he later changed to just Luke Records because of some kind of lawsuit, which was filed against him by, I think it was the director of Star Wars, George Lucas, for using, some intellectual property, trademark or something. But anyway, so Luke Skywalker Records, okay? Luke puts out this album. He puts out a bunch of albums, okay? But, and let me see if I could find it here. So, it's this album right here. This is actually the clean version. I also have the dirty version, but this is as nasty as they want to be. This one here is as clean as they want to be. This is the censored version. So basically, Luke decided to put out two versions of this album because it was so controversial. When he put out the album, first of all, there was no parental advisory sticker up until this point. See, Luke is so important to rap history and hip-hop history, but not a lot of people know this, but because, he had the first, rap label that he owned, before Puffy, before Suge Knight and all these other guys. It was Luke down in Miami. And then it was Luke that came up with the parental advisory sticker. We've all seen the sticker. It's this right here. So, this album, as nasty as they want to be, it was full of cuss words, and it was, it was like beyond explicit, and it got to the point where a lot of people, you know, were calling it obscene, and as a matter of fact, the Two Live Crew was arrested, and their album was banned, and anybody selling the album was also arrested. So I mean, it was a huge deal, okay? And Luke and his crew, the Two Live Crew, they basically took the case all the way up to the Supreme Court, and they actually won, which became this landmark case regarding freedom of speech and things like that. So it actually set precedent, you know, in the courts and in the legal system in the U.S. Anyway, yeah, and so basically Luke and the Two Live Crew, these are the big guys when it comes to the Miami-based genre, okay? And then there's a whole bunch of other artists, you know. So this style of music, it started in Miami, and it combined rap, it combined electro funk, you know, and to a lesser extent forms of dance music such as techno and you know, sounds of that kind. And yeah, so it started in Miami, and then the surrounding areas, such as West Palm Beach, which is north of Miami, they had a group such as they had a group named Splack Pack. Okay, they're from Palm Beach, and you know, so the Miami-based sound, you know, there was artists from Miami, and then there was artists in the surrounding areas, and then there was groups such as the 69 Boys, who were from Orlando, if I'm not mistaken, and the sound eventually found its way to the Atlanta, Georgia area, you know. And then you had groups such as the Ghost Town DJs and Playa Poncho and names like these. So yeah, back to the Miami-based music. They don't make Miami-based music anymore, at least not to the extent which they did back in the 80s and early 90s. But the music still rocks. The music is still cool. People still pump it. You know, either in their cars or DJs such as myself, we still spin this type of music. I got a whole bunch of Miami-based records right here I could share with you if you like. So, you know, living in Miami and being from Miami and being a huge fan of the Miami-based genre, I was fortunate enough to meet Luther Campbell on 2 occasions. And they were both times it was at Power 96 Studios in Miami. You see, back in the late 90s when I first got my equipment, I was trying to actually work for the station. I was unsuccessful. I tried, but you know, I just, maybe at the time, you know, I just wasn't ready. My skills weren't up to par, so to speak, which is understandable. That station is basically quite possibly the biggest and you know, the best station in Miami. And for someone like such as myself, you know, in the late 90s, who was just starting to get into DJing and just got his equipment and was collecting vinyl and all of that, it's understandable that, you know, they didn't give me a job. I don't hold any grudges or anything. But back to what I was saying, on one of those occasions, which I was around the studio, you know, trying to get hired as a DJ or as an intern, or you know, get my foot in the door and be a part of you know, the radio station. I remember like Luke, he visits that station, or at least he used to from time to time, because that radio station had a lot to do with his success. Because when nobody else was playing his music and had turned him away, and you know, no one was really giving his records a chance, that radio station, Power 96, really put their full support behind him, his record label, and his artists, including the Two Live Crew. And so, you know, Luke has a very great, excellent relationship with those guys at the radio station there. So anyway, you know, on one of these visits that Luke was making to the radio station, I think he was, you know, passing out his latest artist records, and I think I have those records right here. Anyway, I saw him there when he was about to leave. You know, he was saying goodbye to everybody. He was done with the radio station for the day, and he was like in the downstairs lobby area. Downstairs there was a bank, so it's a building. You know, there's different businesses in there. Upstairs there's the radio station and maybe other businesses as well. Downstairs was a bank. At the time, maybe it was a I don't know, they changed the bank. It used to be a Barnett Bank, and then maybe it was a Bank of America at the time. It was a bank. Anyway, he was in the bank. He was, you know, because everybody in Miami, or at least a lot of people, or most of the people in Miami, know Luke, and, you know, they all love him, including myself, right? So, you know, he was just talking to like maybe some of the people at the bank, some of the ladies, something like that, just saying, hi, how are you? Good to see you. What's up? What are you doing? And he was going to, you know, be on his way, and you know. Anyway, so he came out of there, out of the building, and he went into his car. And, you know, I didn't want to startle him or think, you know, I didn't want to run up on the guy just like that, right? So, you know, I went up to him real calm. I introduced myself. I said, yo, Luke, what's up? How you doing? I really respect you. I'm a DJ. I'm trying to, you know, make it in the DJ world and all that. And I told him, you know, how much I respect him, and if he had any of his old, you know, older music, because at the time I didn't have all the music that I have now on vinyl, and I was hoping maybe he had some of the old stuff like the Me So Horny and all of this type of music, preferably on a 12-inch. But anyway, he said he didn't have any of the old stuff on him, but he had some of the new stuff. And, you know, he was such a cool guy. He gave me two copies of his latest artist music. It wasn't him. It wasn't his record. It wasn't him on the record, but it was one of his artists or somebody he produced or he was managing or something like that. So he gave me two copies of those records, and they were very good records. And so that was the first time I met him. The second time I met Luke was also at Power 96 Studios, and again, I was trying to get a job. I was trying to, you know, be a part of the the radio station somehow. And the big DJ at the time who was working there, a long-time DJ, you know, people in Miami would recognize his name, DJ Lazaro Mendez, one of the great DJs from Miami. He had his own show. I think it was called the DJ Laz Pimp Show or something. Anyway, because I hung out at the radio station from time to time, I was downstairs, and before I went there that day, I had heard that Luke and one of his colleagues, another legendary Miami-based artist by the name of Disco Rick, I had heard over the radio that they were going to be there. So because I didn't live far from the radio station, I walked over there, and I was trying to get up there so that, you know, I could hopefully get some of my records signed. So I had a DJ Laz record, and I had a Luke record and a Disco Rick record, okay? And one of the other workers from the radio station saw that I was downstairs, and I asked them, you know, what's going on? Is Luke up there and Disco Rick? And they're like, yeah, man, not a problem. Come with me. I'll take you up there. They're all up there chilling. And so, you know, thankfully I was able to get up there, and, you know, DJ Laz was up there, Luke was up there, Disco Rick was up there, you know, some other people were up there, and I was able to take pictures with DJ Laz, I got a picture with Luke and Disco Rick, and they were all very nice, and they signed my records for me, so that was a cool experience. So as a DJ, you know, I'm a huge fan of Luke, and being from Miami, that makes me even a bigger fan of him and his career and what he's done for the area and for rap and all of that. So this record right here, this is his 12-inch single that he put out, Breakdown. This is such a cool record, and as you could see, he signed it for me right here. It says, to DJ Prophecy, Luke. So this was actually in the early 2000s. It may have been like 2002 or something. This record here, of course, is from 1992, but it's really an awesome record. It's a classic. It's a classic Luke record, and you know, I'm just looking in these crates right now. Let me see if I could find this other one. So here's a DJ Laz. Here's a DJ Laz record, which he was kind enough to sign for me. And this record also has Luke on there. It's featuring Luke. And this right here is the Disco Rick record, which he was kind enough to sign for me. So when I went up there, I actually had maybe more than one Luke record. So Luke signed like maybe actually a few of my records for me. It says, to DJ Prophecy, 2002, Luke. He signed maybe about 3 or 4 of my records here. So yeah, I mean, Miami bass is a very, I mean, personally, I think it's really cool. I love it, but you have to understand that that's the local sound. It has a lot to do with our history, being from the Miami area. We take pride in it. You know, others may, you know, feel that it's corny or something like that, but for us, especially, I mean, I'm a DJ, so it's coming from my point of view. I grew up listening to it. Anytime I play a Miami-based record, girls are shaking their asses, everyone's having a great time, and the party is jumping, if you know what I mean. So Miami bass is, you know, just like other genres, freestyle and hip hop and these other dope genres, you know, it's never gonna die. I mean, it's always gonna be great party music. As a DJ, you know, you know which genres are gonna work at a party or whatever. So, and Miami bass is one of those genres, especially in Miami. I mean, I don't know how the folks in New York or California or Nebraska or wherever they're gonna, you know, receive that kind of flavor. But down here, it's definitely always gonna be our distinct flavor, our distinct sound, and it's always going to be something that'll get the party moving, if you know what I mean. So with the remainder of this show, I'm just going to show you guys some of my Miami bass records that I have here, if you don't mind, of course. So here's Luke's Raise the Roof record. Here's an LP, it's the Two Live Crew's Greatest Hits. Here's Luke's The Hop record. This is a very important record by an artist, Miami bass artist by the name of Crazy Legs. Bump Your Rump to the Funk, that's the name of the track. This is a very important Miami bass record. Here's another very important Miami bass record. It's by, the artist is Big Boy. The name of the track is Rockin'. It's either called Rockin' or Big Boy Rockin'. Here's another joint by the Two Live Crew, Do the Damn Thing. This is the Two Live Crew, Hoochie Mama, from the Friday film soundtrack with Ice Cube and Chris Tucker. So, I mean, what's interesting about the Two Live Crew, you know, being a fan of this style of music, and as a DJ and as, you know, as a historian and all of this, right? From what I've been from what I heard, okay, the Two Live Crew, of course, they're known for their explicit, over-the-top, sexual lyrics, okay, explicit lyrics. However, in the very beginning, that was not the path which they were going to take. They were going along the lines of kind of a Run DMC sound, which was clean, which was not sexual, which was about just dope lyrics and rhyming over the beat. Very much like a Run DMC, okay, like a Miami version of the Run DMC. Because Run DMC, you got to understand, at the time, you know, like 1985, those guys were the main rap group. They were the big rap group. And so when Two Live Crew came out, I'm going to show you this record. I don't know if you could see that. So the name of this track is What I Like. This record right here. And if I'm not mistaken, this is like the first Two Live Crew record. And if you hear first of all, this record is really dope. It's old school, of course. And the sound is a hip hop sound. It's an old school hip hop sound from the mid 80s. It sounds like Run DMC or LL Cool J or Beastie Boys, you know, from that period of hip hop. And I don't even think there's anything sexual on here or any, you know, explicit lyrics or anything. So, you know, down the line, they decided to become explicit and sexual and to turn heads and all of this, which, you know, that's what they're known for, and it's just a part of history now, but they weren't always like that. Not in the very beginning, at least. Alright, so here's another Two Live Crew album. It's in plastic. I don't want to get the glare on there. And so I was telling you guys about the Pac Jam, right? So on this album, you see Luke, this is Luke right here. This is the brother Marquise. And this guy right here, this is the Fresh Kid Ice, also known as the Chinaman. They call him Chinaman because I believe his parents are from, from that part of the world or something. But this is a very cool guy. All these guys are really cool. They did a lot for Miami. I believe Fresh Kid Ice, I think he has a record label called Chinaman Records right now, okay? So right now we're in December 2016, and I've been looking on Instagram and I've seen his posts, and it appears he has Chinaman Records. He's trying to do something with that. I hope it's successful. I really respect all these guys. Another interesting fact is that I met Fresh Kid Ice one time at the Power 96 studios. Remember how I told you how I was trying to get a job there or an internship or something? So I was there, and I was trying to meet with one of the people there, and then in the lobby it's kind of funny. Let me tell you the story. So I'm waiting in the lobby of Power 96, the radio station, the big radio station down here in Miami, and this is I don't even remember, but it was in the 2000s, I think, right? So I'm sitting there, and there's other people. Some are standing, some are sitting, and I'm just sitting there waiting, and I just happen to look in this direction, and I see someone sitting there. Just one guy sitting there. And I look closer, and I'm like, can that be? Is that? And then I'm like, oh shit, it's the Fresh Kid Ice. And I went up to him, and I'm like, yo, Fresh Kid Ice, what's up, man? How you doing? What are you up to? Yo. And he was really chill. He was cool. He's like, just doing my thing and all that. And then, I told him, yo, man, I really respect you and all that shit, right? And then I think it was the program director of the station, this guy, Eddie Mix, another great DJ from Miami, okay? Much respect to Eddie Mix. So he had an appointment with Eddie Mix, I think. I don't know about what, but, Fresh Kid Ice, Two Live Crew, Power 96, Eddie Mix, all these guys, they have a relationship that stems back, years. So, of course, they had something they needed to obviously talk about. So he went into his meeting with the program director, and I'm like, oh shit, I just met the Fresh Kid Ice, and that was really cool. In my life, I've seen a lot of rappers, bro. I've seen so many of the biggest rappers, and on some occasions I've personally met them, I've spoken with them, but I've seen so many rappers, it'll blow your mind. And I don't mean from far away, from pretty close. I've seen the biggest rappers you could imagine. But we'll save that for another show. Back to this album cover, this LP. So, as I was saying, this right here is Luke. That is Fresh Kid Ice. Brother Marquise is over here. And behind them, if you see this building, that is the Pac Jam, which I was telling you about. That's the teen disco. And on the back, of course, that's the Luke Skywalker logo before he had to change it to just Luke Records. Here's another Two Live Crew LP. Move Something. Yeah, these guys were awesome. It's too bad that they broke up. It's a long story. But those guys, man. Let me see if there's any other. I mean, I got so many Miami-based records here. Here's another Two Live Crew, Do Wah Diddy 12-inch single. This is the remix. Here's a Gigolo Tony LP. Here's a famous Miami-based record. The name of the record is Janet Reno. And Couette, okay? I was always not knowing how to pronounce her name. Yeah, this is one of those milestone records in the history of Miami bass, you know? So, another big Miami bass artist is MC Shy D, right here. This is one of his records. Where is he? That's him right here. And of course, MC Shy D was one of the artists on Luke Records. I think he moved to Atlanta, or he's originally from. No, he's actually, see, MC Shy D. He's originally from the Bronx River, New York. So he's basically from where hip hop started, okay? And if I'm not mistaken, he's related to Africa Bambaataa. He's like the cousin of Africa Bambaataa or something like that. And you want to hear something interesting? About a year or two ago, I actually chatted with MC Shy D over the internet. He's a very cool guy. Anybody who knows MC Shy D, I think he's DJing now. Yo, support this guy. He's so down to earth, and he's a genuine dude. And he's one of those guys who's very down to earth and very nice. So big up to MC Shy D, a Miami-based legend. Yeah, so he is from New York. He's from that same area where hip hop started. He's related to Africa Bambaataa. You know, that's crazy. I didn't know that, but he told me that when I was chatting with him. So some other Miami-based records, you know. Here's a group called Afro Rican. Okay. The Two Live Crew, you know, there's a ton of Miami-based artists, but they were the big guys, okay, for that genre. And one of their big singles was "Pop That Coochie," which is of course the "Pop That Coochie" is the clean version of "Pop That P Word." And like I was saying, Miami bass originated in the Miami and South Florida area, and then it moved north. You know, eventually, you know, it went from Miami to like West Palm Beach, and then Orlando and Atlanta. And so there's actually some artists who are within the Miami bass genre, or at least some of their songs are, who are not from the Miami area. For example, Sir Mix-a-Lot, he has at least one Miami-based record, My Posse's on Broadway, or Posse on Broadway, and he's from Seattle. He's a Seattle rapper. This group right here, Rex and Effects, I think Teddy Riley is actually a member, if I'm not mistaken. They're not from Miami originally either, but it's a Miami-based record. This group right here, Tag Team, Whoop, there it is. I don't think they're from Miami either, but that's a Miami-based record. Uh, who else? JJ Fad, Supersonic, okay? That rap group, I think they were actually on Eazy-E's Ruthless Records at one point, and that's over on the west side. But that record down here is considered within the Miami bass genre. You know, it's interesting. Back in 1991, there was this record called Doo-Doo Brown by this group called Two Hype Brothers and a Dog. And then, I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden, Luke and the Two Live Crew, they began using that word, Doo-Doo Brown. So when you hear one of Luke's famous songs, I Wanna Rock, he keeps saying, Doo-Doo Brown, Doo-Doo Brown, Doo-Doo Brown. And then, I mean, you know, I don't think this original record had anything to do with Luke or the Two Live Crew, but okay, first of all, I think this record, Doo-Doo Brown, it fits within the Miami bass genre. I don't know if it was originally intended to be within that genre, but this record was so big in Miami, it's not even funny. And then, and then, you know, like I said, Luke and the Two Live Crew, they began saying Doo-Doo Brown all the time in all you know, a lot of their records and stuff. Man, I got so many Miami bass records, it's not even funny. So, you remember I was telling you earlier that that first time I met Luke, he was coming out of the building and he was passing out records basically to the radio station so that they could have copies to play. I think this is, he gave me 2 copies of this right here. As you can see, it's affiliated with Loud Records. However, if you look very closely, you'll see the Luke record logo. So it was definitely something that Luke had worked on or was a part of. So actually, the track is Loving You by Sylvia. Sylvia is the artist. The track is Loving You. It's a very dope Miami bass record. And it's a later record. So this one came out actually in 1999 when Miami bass, for the most part, was no longer being made. But this one is a beautiful record. I mean, it's really cool. Yo, big up to Luke. I know he's going by Uncle Luke, but to me, he's always going to be just plain Luke. So here's one of those records from the late 80s that put Two Live Crew on the map. Me So Horny, from As Nasty As They Wanna Be. Here's another Two Live Crew record. This one is from 1998. And it just shows you what kind of lifestyle and sound these guys are all about. Look at all those beautiful women. These guys get all the girls, you know. Yeah, so I mean, going through all these records, man, there's so many. So here's another one of those records that Luke signed for me over at the radio station. If you look closely, it says Luke 2002 something. Yeah, I mean, there's just so many records. Here's a famous record, Miami bass record by the group Black Pack I was telling you about from West Palm Beach. This is a famous record. I'm sure a lot of people have heard about it. Scrub the Ground. Scrub the ground. Scrub the ground. When this record gets put on, all the girls shake their asses. It's just automatic, you know. Scrub the ground.